let's speak at the beginning about emotional intelligence. And what is emotional intelligence? Because there are different definitions. So I will explain this using the slide. So when I say emotional intelligence, actually I'm speaking about 4-quadrant model, when we have self-awareness, self-management at one side, and on the other side there is social awareness and relationship management. And I will briefly go through competencies of emotional intelligence. Of course, depending on definition and methodology behind, we have like different list of competencies, but mainly they all intersect into like 22 competencies that I will present today. I will not speak about all of them because it would require a lot of time, but I will just introduce a few of them, which probably all of you are aware of. Like under self-awareness, we are talking about emotional self-awareness. So we are talking about being aware of our own emotions. Under self-awareness, we are talking about accurate self-assessment, meaning that we are aware of our strengths, that we are aware of our weaknesses, that we know how to use our strengths as a weapon of our success and how to minimize impact of our weaknesses. And we are talking about self-esteem. But when we speak about self-management, there are several very famous competencies like self-control and stress management, which is in direct connection with mental health and well-being. I will mention problem solving because problem solving is directly connected with creativity, which is another competence which is important in the digital age where we are, the age of constant changes, the age where we need to think fast, act fast. This is the competence the companies needs in order not to stay, not only to advance, but to stay where they are. I will mention among these competencies adaptability or resilience that I really like myself, and I think that this is one of key competencies that we need to develop. We all learned during especially pandemic how resilience is mandatory in order to help us to simply continue to see the light at the end of tunnel at the moments when we are faced with something which deeply affects our daily life or look into our future, that we can continue, that we can find motivation and continue to build our life. When we speak about social awareness, there are empathy, and we are all facing, especially I would say in last weeks when some things happen in Serbia and Montenegro, how empathy is important and becoming even more important as a competence. Among social awareness are organizational awareness and service orientation. Service orientation is another of my favorite competencies because actually it represents our ability and readiness to give a helping hand to other person without expecting immediate reward. When we are talking about organizations, companies working in any team, these competences become really like an essence, this secret spice which helps companies to grow. So service orientation is opposite of being selfish. It means like I will give you helping hand, and then somebody will give helping hand to somebody else, and somehow we are all working on the same cause. And we're speaking about relationship management, most famous soft skills and competencies of emotional intelligence are located here, like communication, influence or networking, conflict management, leadership, ability to catalyze change, teamwork and collaboration, and some others. But the question is, like, why does emotional intelligence matter? So 2019, I was in leadership roles in really big companies. I left Deutsche Telekom Group. I was working in insurance company, and constantly I was facing situations that team that I was working on had some issues with the conflict resolution, with communication, with stress management. And although I'm a mathematician and computer science expert in my background, I wanted to acquire some knowledge from applied psychology, and I became certified coach for development of emotional intelligence. And then I learned even more about the importance of emotional intelligence. So basically, there are scientific research that shows when we speak about individuals that your employability and salary level is directly connected with the level of emotional intelligence. We are speaking about some measurable differences. So basically, people with higher emotional intelligence earns 33% more than others during their lifetime. So this is huge difference. And on the other side, we are speaking about happiness and life satisfaction, where we can as well talk about well-being and mental health, because there are as well direct connections between level of emotional intelligence and prevention of mental health issues, and as well with well-being. When we speak about companies and effect of investing into soft skills developments or emotional intelligence development, there are studies that shows direct connection between investing into trainings that develops emotional intelligence and profitability of companies. And I believe that anybody who is here coming from HR is aware of that, because HR departments wouldn't exist now in the shape that exists if awareness about importance of soft skills wouldn't exist in the companies you're working on. And I learned that emotional intelligence can be improved by 25%. The thing that really struck me at that moment is that I realized that coaching is probably the best way how emotional intelligence can be developed. But the problem is that most of people I know cannot afford to themselves to work directly with coach or to attend training. So let's say that from perspective of individuals, investing into emotional intelligence development is time demanding and costly. But when we speak about organizations, it's pretty similar. So I will just mention prior some more facts. I will mention connection with well-being and mental health. So I would say that now if we return to the group of competencies and list of competencies that I was presenting, basically it becomes pretty obvious that well-being is connected with the competencies of emotional intelligence. I as well prepared some statistic that is speaking about mental health issues, saying that 60% of employees worldwide experience anxiety during their work career. When we speak about women, 65% of women experience anxiety. Then when we speak about stress, the most common cause of stress is work-related stress, and 79% of people saying that they are frequently experience this. When we speak about depression, I have some interesting statistic as well, that 1 in 6 adults in European Union experiencing depression, and women are twice as likely to experience depression than men, but as well, they are more likely to ask for help. So when we are speaking about emotional intelligence and connection with mental health, we should mention that working on emotional intelligence actually is a method of preventing mental health issues. And investing, so companies that invest into developing of emotional intelligence helps their employees to be healthier and to have better mental health and to experience well-being. So I will give you some more interesting facts about emotional intelligence. So these are some worldwide statistics that I collected. Actually, it was made in 2022, saying that 71% of managers believe that emotional intelligence is more valuable than cognitive one. 79% of CEOs worldwide are concerned that lack of soft skills is threatening future growth of organizations. employees are finding that it's really important to get soft skills training. And for most of companies, like 76% of companies worldwide, soft skills trainings were in focus in 2022. And how we can develop emotional intelligence or soft skills. As I said, one way is coaching. That is probably the best way because you are working with somebody one-to-one, you are having really individual approach, and you are having somebody who is guiding you. Usually you have a meeting once per week during certain time frame. You have time to digest and work alone on some topics, and somebody is helping you to track progress so you can see visibly that you are developing. Other ways are live interactive workshops and trainings, online learning, and of course self-education via different ways. But when we speak about trainings and workshops, there is one statistics that I learned like a year ago. I knew basically that after some training is completed, if we do not put things in practice, that we forget something. But recently I bumped into scientific research that shows that like 7 days after training is completed, if we do not already start putting it into practice, that if we forget almost 70% of what we heard. And after 1 month, it goes above 90%. So this actually makes trainings almost, if there are no follow-ups and some activities that keeps people engaged and force them to put things into practice, actually really not effective. On the other side, we have like online options to instead of live trainings, and of course there are self-education. The thing is that worldwide leaders in HRs and CEOs really find these existing solutions as expensive and not effective. And during this education, when I was becoming certified coach, my IT background, so experience in programming and working in telecommunication companies, building different solutions, actually helped me to realize almost after like 1 month of this training that digital coach can be made. So that's actually, yeah, there are another problems connected with the trainings. This is like a lack of time. So usually when people are on training, they are absent from work. From employee perspective, 6 out of every 10 employees today said that they never had any training in their workplace. This is another problem. This is connected again with the money and time and effectiveness of the trainings. And when we speak about retention, 94% of employees would remain at the same company if it's invested in their learning and training. So basically, I realized that we can create digital coach. And at that moment, idea was not to replace other ways, like especially working with coach, because it cannot be replaced fully, but actually can help people to come to the next level. And this is something which is really important. So if you can, through some affordable way, learn more about emotional intelligence, get access to the trainings that helps you to improve your emotional intelligence, where you can measure and see and track visible progress and results, then the change will happen. Not only that you will bring your emotional intelligence and your EQ let's say it can be measured, yeah? So you can see what is your current level of emotional intelligence. You will see that you are growing, but basically at one moment you will decide or not, yeah, to acquire some other methods to improve additionally your emotional intelligence, either working with coach or attending some trainings or working by yourself. But basically you will be motivated to invest into that because you will feel benefits. So our application is coming, Flourish is coming as a mobile app for Android and iPhone users. And on the other side, it comes with a dashboard for management, where management can track progress, can see activities, cannot see individual test results of employees, but can see group results and can see effects of usage of the app. I would say that although this is something pretty innovative, we already managed to have customers. So there are companies that are using our app and can feel benefits of it. At one side, these are universities. At another side, these are companies. And on the third side, these are NGOs, because they usually buy licenses and put it in usage to some groups that cannot afford to themselves to bring their competencies that are necessary for employment, or are connected with some prevention of mental health issues or so on. Okay, so I can just skip this, but basically the users find really beneficial Flourish, that helps them to achieve some levels that they cannot. We managed to be only solution in the world that develops emotional intelligence and soft skills that is officially recommended by UNDP. We are really proud of that. And this is user case coming from Erste Bank. When they decided, they were our pilot customers, they decided to open the app for all employees. All who wanted to use it at that moment could get it. And 31% of employees applied at that moment to use the app. And during 1 month of pilot, they experienced almost 400 personalized individual trainings, and they spent almost 800 hours in the application during like first 3 months. And actually what we learned is that application is really used in a way that does not spend time meant to work, that users are saying that they are inspired, energized, and motivated after using the app. Basically, all employees had space for growth. So nobody was like, oh, my emotional intelligence is like at 100%, nothing will happen. So we all have actually space for improvement. So, but here, I want to discuss more about digital coach and the comparison with some other methodologies. So when we speak about digital coach, some things that are really benefits is this is available anytime, anywhere. It actually requires 10 minutes maximum per session. And currently, thanks to scientific research that we are conducting, we already see that if you use Flourish 2 times per week, in total, less than 20 minutes, after only 1 month, you will experience increase of emotional intelligence, measurable increase of emotional intelligence. The app is interesting, gamified. It enables continuity, which is really important, which cannot be with most ways how trainings are organized. This cannot be provided. And of course, you can cover with the same training budget more employees. It develops full span of emotional intelligence. Usually companies decide to invest into certain areas, like for example, they're developing communication skills, conflict management skills, they're developing leadership, but they are not working on empathy, for example. They are working on stress management, but they are not working on resilience or self-confidence. And Flourish is working on each pillar of emotional intelligence. It really can help flourish companies' values and culture. The companies can see insights into company strengths and weaknesses. They can have and use a reporting system and track progress on that way. Which things are cons, let's say? The people itself, we as a human beings, tend to start some things, but then not to continue. I will just give you an example. Myself, I was using Duolingo app for like 2 months, and then I quit. I didn't have like a time and so on. So one of the biggest questions or like threats coming with the mobile app like Flourishes or any digital coach is like whether people really will use it. Of course, there are ways how this can be improved. At one side is we are doing this via gamification, via individual progress tracking, so you are motivated to continue. But on the other side, the companies itself can put certain targets and defined, like, for example, okay, we are buying this, we are using this in our organization, and then, you have to use it on certain level. Like, I'm buying training for you, you have to attend it, or I wouldn't buy it. So that's one thing. Another thing is at the beginning, especially we experience fears whether this will work. I would say where anything happen that is innovative, that is new, we are all having fears of change. So whether Flourish works, and that's the reason that at the end of last year, we actually signed a contract with researchers, psychologists that are now conducting scientific research that will not only prove that Flourish works, we already have proved that after 1 month it works, but actually they will provide us with the best way how it can work with the minimum, so maximum results with minimum usage. So I would not say that digital coach will replace a human one. It should not happen ever, because the best way is, again, working with a one-to-one with person, but it will be a great helper to bring people within one organization on the next level and bring organization on the next level, and then you can fine-tune it and you can better have control for your budget. So basically, actually I spend almost all time, so I would leave some space for some questions, if any. And of course, these are my contact details, so you can contact me via this mail, you can find me on LinkedIn, and I will be happy to answer now or any other time any question related to this topic.